Good afternoon, dear professors, faculty members, and of course, dear student. My name is Irina, and in this conference, I present Riga. This is capital of a very small Baltic country, Latvia. I'm very honored to be invited to this conference, and I'm very emotional to be in the motherland from which each inhabitants from Europe and also from my small country, Latvia, will coming. Thank you for your invitation. Today I will touch maybe most difficult question in the teaching process. How the professor and any higher education institution provide practical knowledge to our students, because our students in where I work in a Transport and Telecommunication Institute in Riga always criticize us as a professor. You don't give us so sufficient knowledge, practical experience in different subjects, in accounting and management and marketing. So the big question for us, for academic, to provide our student practical experience. And how we do this? In my presentation, I will continue my presentation what I have presented for the economic faculty students. I will show you how I do it, because I'm teacher during practically 40 years, and I'm student more than 40 years, taking into account my education in Yaroslav State University. So 45 years I study. I try to be very useful in my field of profession, accounting and finance. Case study today, some methodological aspect for teaching case study, and after a very short presentation I will show how, taking some example from my practice, I will show how I do it. If we want to use case study in management education, in study process, we must understand that the first things must be established, the goal established. So the most important question, this is educational objectives. What do we want to do? What do we want to show? What do we want to learn our students? And the second things, the case, some pedagogical foundations. I will not touch, in my presentation, I will not touch this question, how to prepare case study. And I will not touch this question, how to design a study course using a case study method. What a case is? There are many definitions of case study, but there is also some common view of the case study. Case study, one common thing, any case is oriented to improve practical knowledge and skills of the students, to develop some professional competences, and for working in real business world. These maybe main things are in case study teaching process. In the center you can see objectives. This is the aim of case study teaching, and of course must be developed methodology, how to teach using case study, must be students, most important in this process, faculty member, and also time. Time is limited, and time depends on the maybe volume of case study, and maybe depends on the complicated of problem established. This is a pyramid, and the first thing, this is knowledge. Knowledge what do we give to our student? But if we give only knowledge, a student can repeat this knowledge, but he can't apply. How to apply? This is our task as professor, and we try to develop skills, how to do this, how to apply this knowledge. And of course, in the other things is competences, attitudes, what the person want to do. So our student must not only understand the problem, they must apply some creativity, how to decide some problematic issue in management or economic or commerce. This is some definition of case method, and you can see that real case is description of an actual some administrative problem. So at the basis on any case must be some practical situation, Sometimes we name case study clinical research. Yes, this is absolutely correct. This is maybe a level of frequency of case use, and of course highest level to develop skills in understanding, sorting, analyzing, synthesizing, and making conclusion of some practical situation. This is practical methodology in this slide. Before class, every student must read this situation. So we speak this, in this case, we speak about individual preparation. Every student must be prepared to discussion in the class. In the class, we organize small group discussion with leader, in each group's leader. And this is general discussion. This is organized by tutor or professor. And maybe this pyramid I will apply in, I will show you some example, and we apply all this approach for one practical situation, what I would like to show you. Role of the case instructor. This is, we are also must be prepared, all professor, because we must provoke argumentative thinking. We must get students to take position, defend and change then if it's then warrant. Guide discussion by your own question, formulate a question and making progress. So how I do this? I would like to show you another presentation. Maybe someone can help him. Thank you very much. The name of the case, Bob Foods Company. Original text is Stuart Dowell. And in this case, situation is developed situation about coffee machine. Now in each organization and everywhere we can see a lot of coffee machine. But if you know history, when they arrived this coffee machine, it was 1991, Toronto, Canada. And this case study, in this case study, three things are connected to each other. Pricing policy, marketing policy and company strategy. Subject for the study for the students, what we give to our students to develop a pricing policy, a pricing system that will be better reflect the manner of which costs are actually incurred. What is the problem? A real problem it was that the company had different type of clients, big clients and small clients. Big clients usually bought 20 sets of coffee, and small clients usually bought 5 sets of coffee. For big clients, company offer discount, 15% discount. Small company, for the small company, it was higher pricing policy with profit margin equal 25%. But problem of the company was following. The owner of the company want to receive 15% of margin profit, but nothing happened. And he want to understand what is the reason why he couldn't get this 15%. Maybe pricing policy in industry, in all industry, it wasn't correct. Learning lesson objectives is shown in this slide, and I would like more concentrated in this working plan, working schedule. Question of the time is most important. So this case I teach during 2.5 hours, 150 minutes, and all things is because we are manager, we organize all this process. So introduction, 10 minutes, organizational issues 5 minutes, situation analysis 15 minutes, work in the group. If you remember, it's a small group, it's necessary to organize. After small group discussion, tutor summarize decision of the group leaders and try to define a problem. What is a problem? So we speak about situation analysis, and tutor summarize all results of all presentation. After this, we develop research question, try to do assessment of the situation, and finally, this point number 7, we make conclusions and try to do diagnostic of this situation. After this, we organize presentation of result by the group leader and try to define some possible strategies how to continue business. After this, a short break. I offer for the student a short break to assign and put final grade, because it's most difficult question how to evaluate the answer of the student. And in this I apply 2 approach. 50% of mark I put myself, this is mark from professor, and 50% this is evaluation from another group of students. So I speak about self-evaluation, the student also. And the final marks it's provided by tutor, and we close this question. But before, of course, my student must read this situation. I'm very rapidly to show this how I apply this method. This usually I organize 4 groups, and each group has some specific topic for discussion. And finally, we summarize and try to analyze situation about big client and small client. After this is tutor summarize answer of presentation of a group of leaders. Try to show this is pictures about real situation, this is actual pricing approach, and we see that profit margin for the to customer. For the small company, 23%. For big company, 12%. And final price, customer cost per cup only 8.8 American cent, and big company pays for the cup of coffee 7.3%. But this is not right approach for pricing policy. After we try to define problem, and real problem of the business, because not correct pricing policy, not possible to develop the business, because pricing, this is basic basis of any businesses, and high probability to lose the market. So this we develop research question for the student, main question for the case study, and after our student tried to answer on all these questions. And this is answer for each questions with conclusion. This is not that something not correct in costing. In general conclusion, the firm has applied not correct way of pricing of product, but this conclusion is made by the student, not by the teacher. The student become to this conclusion. So this case demonstrate, this is introductory case in use activity-based costing, if you know. Do you know activity-based costing approach? No? No? And activity-based costing system in the marketing and distribution part of business. And the student asked to look at the data provided as a case and try to understand the reason of problem in the business, because pricing, not correct pricing policy. This tutor tried to understand reality of situation and applying new approach to the pricing, we have a new number, and we see that this price less than previous price of the product. It means that Bob Fisher becoming as a pricing leader. What does it mean, pricing leader in the business? To be leader in price policy, it means that all client is my client. This is good or not good? Of course, good. So, and at the end, tutor tried to explain situation, why the existing firm in the industry are not making 15% discount. This is answer is given for of the teacher. So, and this case shows, this is typical example of cross-subsidization among customer. So the company provides a discount for the big clients and put more profit margin for the small clients, but company can't gain 15% of profit margin. So, impact on the performance. So 3 things, what I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, are very, very connected. Economic, finance, and commerce. So advantages of a new approach is given here. Applying new pricing policy, it's not necessary to give discount for the big clients. And application of a simple costing calculation. Sometimes in business, if our customer understand how we calculate the cost, it's very, very important. So our customer understood our price policy and they will be ready to pay for this price what we offer to them. Potential risk. if the company will apply new approach for the pricing, of course we must evaluate potential risk, and potential risk will be we can lose a small customer while large companies benefits, and other potential risk you can see in this slide. And also consequences can be growth in overhead costs. Overhead costs, you know, it's prime cost, direct material, direct labor, and overhead. But this overhead cost can grow, and finally, a company can lose competitive advantage. So I think this is all what I want to say to you. Thank you for your attention. I'm not sure that you understand me very well, because, but most important thing to understand idea. We are professor and we must apply some practical method, provide this practical method, teaching method to our student to grow some practical skills. Otherwise, the problem is remaining. It's no problem to take, for example, a work for our for our alumni, but every company now asks practical experience. But if we offer to our student only academic education, it's not necessary to find good work in our contemporary world. Thank you for attention.
Now it is open house. I mean, there will be discussion on the presentation, and I would again prefer the management students to speak out first.
Thank you for this. Managers make decision. Economists calculate the price, calculate the cost, yes, calculate the price, but final decision is made by managers. So this case for you. Who is manager? No managers. Everyone is entrepreneur.
Any question or any comment of the presentation?
The case study which you use in your institute, is this case written based on the field data or it's based on the secondary research? Can you just explain to that?
This case study is based, this is original case study, but the name Bob Foods, this my adaptation. This is primary data was used in the case study by the author Randy Coder from Canada.
Anything else? So how the group was organized?
It depends on the number of students in the audience.
My question. For a case study, as she has done, it will be based on a group, a small group, on the basis of which the discussions will be done.
3-5 students, the best way. 3-5 students.
5 students.
No, not more than 5.
So it is very important that there should be only a few students, or maybe group will be small. Yes, you have a question.
So as you said, you have selected a kind of random sample of the students, right? So on what basis you have made the sample?
Assessment.
No, the sample that you have made out of that 5 or 6 students.
5-6 students, yes, it will be nice. 5-6 students, yes.
So on what basis you have made that sample?
5-6 students, and must be leader in this group who is responsible for decision making of this group, and this leader present result of discussion, and tutor will take into account all this presentation of leader of the group, summarize all this result and give some own view on the situation.
It is not a random selection, a purposive selection based on the purpose. And she has explained what the purpose was. So technically speaking, it was not a random sample. Anything else?
Maybe one conclusion, any case doesn't have any final decision. Yes, the objective of any case to give some alternative. But when you will be in real practical situation, of course you will make choice for only one alternative.
Perhaps if you select a maximum of 4 students in a class, so there should be many more case studies for a larger class.
Yes, we can use.
If all of them has to be given a chance.
It can be 10 students, but it will be more difficult. Maybe more difficult, but also can be. Usually you have biggest class, yes?
Yes.
No, how many students you have in the audience?
Maybe 40.
40, so you can organize maybe 5 group, 6 group. So will be 7-8 people in the group. It's okay.
Separate case studies for
Separatism.